people that have gone to jail, prison, or worked there, what are your most interesting, funny, scary, or gross stories? I was a college instructor teaching in state prisons for several years. At first, I was a bit anxious about being in that environment. After all, I was in a room with about 24 convicted murderers, rapists, child molesters, and drug dealers. It wasn't exactly a welcoming place. But, after about a month, I realized that I had nothing to worry about. I was surprised to find that these guys were willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect the teachers. I had just started my lecture one day when a lockdown was called. Our room was locked from the outside, and we could not move until it was over. We heard, coming from upstairs, what sounded like a riot breaking out. "Teach, get in the corner," one of my guys said, practically pulling me off my feet and pushing me into the corner furthest from the classroom door. The guys then proceeded, without saying a word to each other, to pile all of the classroom desks in front of the door and stand between me and said desks. They were creating a barrier to keep me safe. It turns out that the riot we heard was not as big as we feared, so the lockdown only lasted about an hour. Afterward, once we got the okay and the room was put back in order, I asked the guys why they did what they did. "Some motherfucker hurts you," one of the guys said. "All the teachers will leave. We don't want to lose our education because some assholes can't control themselves." It was only one day, part of a succession of very short internships to show us various places where psychologists work. Well, the day in the prison. There's the low security guys, with an ambience basically like a kindergarten. Most of them seem to be there due to mental issues, violence. Then there's the medium security guys. Actually more serious, but we didn't stay around them a lot. They apparently are mostly short-term prisoners, who are there for mostly non-physical crimes like scams, fraud, etc. etc. Then there's the high-security guys. The aisle actually looking like it's from an American show, some big angry dudes slamming the hell out of the gates. Then you see 5 guys in a corner with laptops. What are they doing there? I ask. Oh, they play League of Legends. They sit there because it's where the Wi-Fi is best. Ah yes, the look at my balls story. This little, old dude who laid on his bunk all day, blanket pulled up to his nose, looking around scared as hell. I think he only got up to use the toilet when the rest of the tank was sleeping, because for a solid week I never saw him leave the bed. Cleaning day came and folks were pulling their sheets for laundry. I was wiping down surfaces and I got to old dude's bunk. "Hey, I need you to get off your bed a second so I can finish cleaning." No, I can't clean." Very high-pitched, scared voice. "You don't need to, I'll do it. You just gotta climb down off your bunk for a quick second." Dude's eyes are popping out of his head as he climbs down the bunk ladder, like he is expecting to be raped and shanked at any moment. I roll up his mattress and try to hand it to him. "No, I can't." "Here dude, just hold it a second." No. Guy is terrified now, nearly wailing. I can't. Look at my balls." He drops his pants and I get to witness the absolute worst inguinal hernia I have ever seen in my life. In person, textbook, or internet. For those who don't know, an inguinal hernia is when a hole or tear occurs in the lower abdominal wall, in the groin area. In severe cases, intestines can push through that hole and cause a bump under the skin. With this guy, the hernia was right below his junk and the intestines had pushed out into his scrotum, giving him a distended ballsack the size of a grapefruit full of his own twisted gut ropes. Must have been unbelievable painful and disruptive to his GI tract. No wonder he looked scared shitless, couldn't move, and certainly couldn't hold a bedroll. Moral of the story is, next time you want to get out of doing chores, look at my balls. 6 months county jail. I never went to the big leagues. Every other arrest was Maine overnights, weekends, and another very short county stint. Anyways, I was on kitchen duty and they have outside employees as well working in the kitchen. Every single utensil hung on a board in locked cabinets. They were huge and there were 3 of them. We cleaned up after each meal and every single utensil had to be put away, and then the COs checked to make sure there were no missing spaces. Then we went back to the dorms, big rooms filled with bunks that held like 40. After dinner there was a potato peeler missing. The guards make us look for it. We go through trash everywhere and it doesn't show up. They say we can't go back until it's found. So once again we look and they have us looking behind everything and looking in places that you would have to hide or throw something into to get it there. Still find nothing. Now they're pissed. They say that there will be no repercussions if whoever has it will just drop it. The COs even walk away to give the person a chance to drop it. Still nothing, and at this point guys are pissed and saying whoever has it to drop it so we can all go. The guards are heated and are threatening everyone now. Finally at like 1 a.m. they let us go back to the dorms with the promise that we are all accountable when it shows up. Next day it's like nothing happened. Turned out a lady who worked there had accidentally taken it with her back to their locker room and didn't realize it. She was fired. I don't know if this story is interesting, funny, or scary, depends on your perspective, but I was in a pod once where we had a regular CO who was a complete piece of S. He used to try to provoke inmates into starting a fight so that he and his buddies could kick the S out of the inmate. He would destroy inmates' belongings for no reason. He ripped up a letter from my dad during a search one time and then bragged to me that he did it. He would F with inmates' food. He was complete trash. He thought he was a big, tough dude. So anyway, there were a lot of young gang guys in the pod. Gangs are really good at communicating within facilities. So the gang managed to somehow find out the names of the CO's kids and communicate that to the pod. So one day the CO came to do his shift and the pod spent the whole time casually name-dropping the kids' names into their general conversation while he was walking by. And that was the last day the CO worked in our pod. Aren't jails just great for reform? Without too many details, I worked at the federal pen through a contract with another company. I was a counselor for inmates. I was working one day when the prison went into total lockdown. I was escorted out of the area I was working in and they locked me in the chapel, alone. This was a fairly large chapel with a big balcony section. I was there for well over an hour. No way to communicate with anyone and no way out. The things you think being alone in a prison chapel, not having a clue what was happening down the halls. I basically relived every prison movie I have ever seen and what took place in them. I thought of what I could use as a shield or weapon if I needed to. If it was even possible for me to find a way up to the balcony area and hide if I needed. What if the dude who locked me in never comes back? Yeah, that was freaky. I know the protocols, but still it cycled through my brain for a few minutes. When the doors finally opened, I hid not knowing who unlocked it. When I heard specific words, I got up and I was told everything is okay but you gotta go. was escorted through the many security gates and finally through the entrance. I sat in my car for minutes breathing in freedom and finally understanding what inmates told me they feel every day.